Hi class, today you're going to learn how to solve for kinetic and gravitational energies. I'm going to go ahead and give some notes here. You do not have to write these down at all. You just have to follow along. Then you're going to go ahead and finish this worksheet either on Kami or you're going to finish it on a separate sheet of paper and submit it as a screenshot. Let's go ahead and get started here. First thing you should know is that all energies are measured in something called a joule. It's the unit for energy, just like newtons are the unit for force. Also similar to newtons, whereas newtons can be very, very small numbers or very, very large numbers, joules can also be very, very small numbers or very, very large numbers. So now getting into gravitational energy. Gravitational energy depends on a few things. And the two main important ones are the object's mass and the object's height. It also depends on Earth's gravity, but that is always constant, so I won't write it in. All that means is that if an object gets heavier, it has more gravitational energy, or if it gets higher up, it has more gravitational energy. Therefore, if you were to have a basketball and raise it up higher, you give it more gravitational energy, or if you were to hold up a bowling ball, since it's heavier than a basketball, it would then have greater gravitational energy. And the way to solve for gravitational energy is just a simple formula. It's gravitational energy, Eg, we call it, equals m times g times h, which I've listed above. So all you have to do is just multiply three numbers. The mass is 50 kilograms, Earth's gravity is 9.8, and the height is 0.5 meters in this problem. And then all you have to do is go to your calculator and solve for it. And you get 245 joules of energy. And all that means is if that student fell off his 0.5 meter high desk and fell to the ground, he would apply 245 joules from his gravitational energy into the ground. Now we can go ahead and solve for something much lighter, which would be a 1 kilogram book that is 2 meters above the ground, and that would be 19.6 joules of energy. So these numbers can be pretty small, they could get really big, they could be in the thousands, they could be in the millions, just depending on what the objects are. Moving along, kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy from motion. So that depends on two things, and that depends on an object's mass and its velocity. Therefore, if you have a really small kid that's walking, he has a little bit of kinetic energy. But if you have a grown adult who's heavier and they are sprinting, going faster, you're going to have a lot more kinetic energy. So the way to solve for that is just simply EK equals 1/2 mv squared. And I went ahead and I listed that formula above. So you just multiply 1/2 times the mass times the velocity squared. Just make sure, like when you're solving this problem of a 50 kilogram kid running at 7 meters per second squared, just make sure you're only squaring the 7. So if you're going to use your phone, I would do the 7 squared first and then multiply it. I wouldn't do 1/2 times 50 times 7, hit enter, and then square it, because you'll be squaring everything. So if I do this on my calculator, I get 0.5 times 50 times 7 squared, and I get 1,225 joules of energy. That if this person running at this speed with that weight ran into you, they would apply 1,225 joules of energy to you. And to do one more, so this would be a heavy object. This would be a car. That is 1,000 kilograms, so about 2,000 pounds, traveling 30 meters per second, and I gotta square that, so that's about 60 miles an hour. And I get 450,000 joules. So like I said earlier, some energies can be really, really big for really heavy objects that are really high up for gravitational energy, or really heavy objects that are traveling really fast for kinetic energy. So what you guys want to go ahead and do, again, you don't have to write all that in unless you want to. Your goal is to solve for these remaining problems and submit them to me. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.